All right. Top 5 tag teams of all time. We know a little bit about tag team wrestling. Just a little bit. And let's see what we
I'm
got.
completely unfamiliar.
Completely unfamiliar. Yes, you have no idea.
Yeah.
All right, so we really didn't put any rules on this. It could be however you interpret what your top 5 tag team is. If it's just personal preference, if it's accolades, if it's some concocted mixture of both, all good.
Okay. How are we doing this?
Kick it off. What's your number 5 and why?
I would say
Go ahead and let Thumb go.
Okay, go.
number 5. Number 5 for me would probably be Davey Boy Smith and the British Bulldog.
Nice.
The British Bulldogs, yeah,
That would be my
absolutely.
number 5.
Okay.
Yeah, and they, yeah.
Yeah. And
Are we supposed to say why?
well, kind of.
Are we supposed to say why?
Kind of, yeah.
Well, because it just appeared that it appeared in their era that they just drew a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were in. Because you think about the pay-per-views that they were on, and I'm going to say the Heart Foundation because they're obviously on those two, but they actually they would be my number 4. They just drew a lot of money together. For those years that they feuded and WWE for a long time, WWF actually, that was their bread and butter for tag team. The tag team division was the British Bulldogs and the Heart Foundation. They went, I just cannot imagine how much money they drew together.
Yeah.
And I think about wrestling the way differently than most people. I look at it as a business and drawing money. I have, if I'm thinking about me as 12-year-old Thump, it's different. But
sure, of course.
Right now, if I have to have one list, you know what I mean? It's going to be a lot of it's going to be based on drawing money.
Right.
Okay. What you thinking, Draven? Number 5.
Probably the Midnight Express.
Okay.
When I think of
that was my number 1, actually.
Oh shit! I'm sorry.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Y'all might have different reasons.
No. Yeah. Go ahead.
It's just it didn't matter which combination of the Midnight Express. Obviously, one was more successful than the other. But anytime you had that team on your show, you had immediate heat. You had fucking fans foaming at the fucking mouth trying to kill fucking Cornette, which Dark don't even get started on that right now. That's another episode.
Okay.
But motherfuckers drew in so much fucking money from multiple fucking territories.
Yep.
To me, they are like the textbook definition of a heel tag team. That's about it for me. Like just the fact of how they worked, their camaraderie, how they fucking drew, no matter what fucking town they were in, even if they had a fucking sleazy ass name, their fucking teamwork was always top notch.
I like it.
Do you like Stan Lane version or the other guy better? Draven, which was your favorite, better version in your opinion? Stan Lane or the other guy? I forgot the other guy's name. That's horrible. I like the Stan Lane version because it gave them a pretty boy, which even made him more.
See, that's a tough one for me.
Yeah.
That one is tough, but I'm probably going to have to agree with you on that one.
That's the only reason. Honestly, the other guy was great too. I mean, they were.
Like I said,
man, they must have had some serious heat for him to
leave. Any combination of the three worked amazing.
I agree. And Cornette made him. I mean, Cornette made him.
I don't have a problem with manager Cornette.
You just have a problem with personal
Oh,
Cornette.
you just don't like him now.
I don't like pundit Cornette.
Oh well. Yeah, not many people do. I think it's hilarious. I think the guy, well, the reason why I think it's so funny is he keeps himself relevant. Do you know? I know a local promoter, and you guys probably can figure out who I'm talking about because he's the one that always books people up. But a local promoter tried to book him $5,500 plus airfare, and he wanted a 5-star hotel and the most to and from the show. And that's why you don't see him doing anything on the Indies. You imagine paying that guy $5,500.
Come on.
And what do you do with him when he gets there?
You walk around with a tennis racket.
Yeah, it's because he doesn't want to do it. Yeah. He doesn't want to do it. That's why.
Well, I can tell
he practices himself out, so you don't have to worry about doing it.
I can tell you the key hint as soon as you said it. Why he fucking threw out such outrageous shit. Cornette does not fucking fly anywhere. He drives everywhere. And the moment you said fucking flight there and back, I was like, no.
Mm-hmm.
Or he's just fucking putting shit out there.
No. I mean, he'll do it. He'll do it for the right money. He even said that. He said that before, but
but the moment
he obviously had to fly at some point. He don't like to.
Mm.
He used to drive from.
Have you guys ever seen that video of him? Have you seen that video of him flipping out on the drive-through lady with Chris Jericho in the car?
Yeah, and Jericho's in the fucking backseat just egging.
Yeah. And he's like, bitch, all I want some food. That shit was so funny, bro. And I don't give a shit. I don't care who you are. Which one of us would not want to go on a road trip with Jim Cornette and listen to that guy?
I would love to.
Bro. That'd be awesome. I mean, it would be awesome because I don't care. You're gonna learn something. Because a lot of what Jim Cornette says, even on his podcast, is right. It's the way he says it that makes people hate him. I get that.
Yeah, one of us would be dead if we went on a road trip together.
No, I would just knock you the 8-hour ride.
You don't like him, Dark? No, you're not a fan?
I don't know.
You're not a fan, Dark?
I'm not a fan. It's he obviously had his time and he was a great manager and yada yada yada, whatever you're supposed to say about the guy. But he I don't know. I think he says a lot of shit that he's stuck in a world where he can't praise anything that happened to be new within the last 20 years. I don't know. He was a great mind. I think the game has passed him by.
I know exactly what you're saying, and I'll say this. I was talking to Afa one time, and Afa said to me, he said, if a guy is still around the business and he's not shitting on everything that's new, it's because he's not around the business. You know what I mean? It's like, It's like you think about it. Like I shit on this new stuff now, all the time. You know how much I hate AEW. I hate it. And it's because of the fucking 19 super kicks. It's the ring work. It really has nothing to do with the production or the people or anything like that. It's nothing like that. It's just they're doing too much. Just stop it. We need it. We need to go back to I've started to see it because we're drawing bigger crowds on the indies. The vets are starting to take a little bit more control of the locker room, and these guys are doing less, and they're doing the things they're supposed to do to bring the people back. It's starting to happen. I'm seeing it. Jim Cornette is the number one guy that will tell you, don't do too much. Give him a reason to come back next month or next week or whatever.
All right.
And it's starting to permeate throughout because we're starting to see the crowds come back. And at the end of the day, if we want fans in their 50s and 40s to come out and watch this shit, then we have to make it at least seem like it was back when they loved it.
Mhm.
Because if you ask a non-wrestling fan to come to a wrestling show, the first thing he's going to say is, "I remember Dusty Rhodes." And so if you don't give him that storytelling appeal or a reason to get behind the baby or a reason to hate the heel, and it's all athleticism and nothing but high spots, they're not coming back. They don't have a reason to.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
You know, and so Jim Cornette is kind of like the poster child for the way it used to be, and he's. But if you listen to like Glenn Gilberti, Disco Inferno, when he does his podcast with Conan, they're all saying the same thing. It's just Jim Cornette has a way of saying it that pisses people off. They're all saying the same thing. I mean, that's why I would love to go on a car ride with Jim Cornette, because I'd be like, "Hey, we're gonna stop at fucking Wendy's."
Goddamn
If
right.
he didn't flip out on the guy at Wendy's, we're going to fucking Taco Bell at the next exit. I mean, it'd take us a month. It'd take us a month to get from Tennessee to Florida. You know what I mean? We're stopping everything. I want to see this motherfucker flip out over a biscuit, or some shit. Because he's funny, man. He just, he might beat the shit out of his wife and kids and rape his animals. I don't know. I don't know Jim Cornette personally,
Right.
But I mean, it would be a fun car ride.
He's a little too foghorn leghorn for me.
I get that. I mean, knowing you, I get that. Like, I understand that.
All right, can I do my number 5 fucking tag team now?
Here all night.
Jesus
all night. Fucking.
Still doing that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I thought it was that episode.
This show brought to you by Jim Cornette.
Oh Jesus. All right. My number 5 pick. In addition to all the tag team gold accolades and everything, these two kicked off what would become the biggest threat to the WWF empire of all time. We're talking Hall and Nash. We're talking the Outsiders. Number 5, right there.
That's a good spot for them.
Yes, it is.
And the only reason I say that is because I like them so much better on singles, both of them. But they do deserve props because of their time together. I mean, honestly, when I was thinking about this list, I didn't even think about them. So that's a good one, because I always look at Scott Hall as a singles guy, Razor Ramon.
Yeah.
I remember back in the day, like when I was a little kid, it was like Scott Hall and Sting together, like on these old. I never thought Scott Hall was going to end up being like he is.
Yeah, you see those old pictures of him in the AWA. He looks like a what does he look like? Like Tom Selleck.
He looks like
a Jack Tom Selleck.
Star.
Yeah,
he looks like a porn star. Yeah, he was a big look, man. He's from Orlando, right? Like he's from here, and I remember seeing him at Diamond Club, which is a titty bar, and I want to say this was like 25 years ago. It was probably even before I started wrestling, like 97, 96, something like that, before I even thought about wrestling. Mm-hmm. And he's a big fucking guy, man.
Yeah.
Like he is a huge, TV does not do him justice. So I've never seen Kevin Nash in person. So I imagine, because Kevin Nash pretty much dwarfed him, I can imagine Kevin Nash must have been huge. But Scott Hall was a big fucking man. And this is like during the fucking WCW days. Because one of his side chicks, probably the reason why he got divorced, used to be the bartender at this particular establishment, and he would come in there like, you'd see him come in like, and you could tell he just got off a plane, because this particular titty bar was right, not even 3 miles from the airport on the main road, so he would stop in there and we'd see him, and I mean, I'd never hang out with him or anything like that, but he's a big fucking man.
Yeah, man.
I heard the same thing about DDP in his prime. He's a really big fucking dude. Yeah.
Something the kids today will never understand is how big Hulk Hogan was. Like he was like a legit 6'7". He wasn't much shorter than Hall at all. Yeah, and he's like 4 inches shorter now because of all the spinal surgery he's had. But that was an enormous motherfucker back then. An enormous mother. All right, on to number 4, Thump. What you got?
The Heart Foundation. Definitely.
Okay.
The Hart Foundation.
Damn.
You want to know why?
Yeah, of course.
Because of the British Bulldogs, but they were just better, a little bit better,
Yeah.
in my opinion. And it's cohesiveness that comes from being family and being trained in the same place.
Right.
And I've always been kind of a Bret Hart guy, being kind of a wrestling. I wouldn't say I'm a wrestling purist because I did a lot of stupid shit when I was in the ring, but I was a fan. I was a fan of the pure, um, the pure wrestling and the tech. I mean, and Bret Hart could work with anyone.
Yeah.
Bret Hart worked with Yokozuna. Nobody ever worked better with Yokozuna than Bret Hart. When you think about that in and of itself, and there's so many guys that um, if he would have stayed with WWE, that he would have made so much better. And if he wasn't so beat up now, and he could actually train guys, you send somebody like Chad Gable to him, or or a lot of these other young guys. There's a lot of guys that have come out of Canada that have benefited just from the legacy of Bret Hart. Like there's this kid, Magnum McLaren. You're going to see him on TV. He's only like 19 years old. He's getting ready to wrestle Brian Brock this weekend in Canada. They're flying Brian Brock up there to work.
Nice.
He's fucking McLaren is amazing. He was down here for a while. Didn't really get to do a lot of mainstream shows because he wasn't here long enough, and just the dates didn't work out. Because I had him booked I was going to book him for Adrenaline, but he couldn't be here. He was already going back to Canada. And you probably remember me talking about him. He's amazing. He was trained by a guy that was like a little kid watching Bret Hart and his dad train people.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So can you imagine, like, if that much stuck, and then there's just been so many other guys, like the Mounties and a lot of Canadians they have that legacy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I give them almost like the number 4 rub. And that's another thing too. Like Bret Hart was so great as a singles guy, but you can't forget Jim Neidhart. I mean, even his daughters had a better career than him, and she's a first. I don't care what anybody says. Natty was a Hall of Famer 5 years ago.
Oh yeah.
She's a Hall of Famer, no question.
She's
and she gives back. She gives back. She trains Chico Adams, and there's a new tag team that's in Florida called the New Hart Foundation.
Oh really?
Yeah, and they're fucking great. They train with Natty and TJ every fucking week. And they got a little warehouse deal over in Tampa. Chico Adams trains there. Azriel Dominguez trains there. So yeah, it's just like, it's like when you think about, I guess I know too much because like I know who came from where and how they got there and blah blah blah. You know what I mean? And you start giving people credit for, like, this one guy is responsible for 10 other guys that were that have come along. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then those people have trained these people, and those people have trained these people. It's just cool, man.
Yeah. Very nice. So the Howard Foundation, number 4, Driven.
The Briscoes, Mark and Jay.
Oh shit.
The greatest tag team to never be able to hit mainstream television. You will never be able to change my fucking mind. It wouldn't matter if it was fucking CW or WWE. You could not sit there and tell me that they could not have made money with the fucking Usos. They could have not have made money with the fucking Young Bucks. In AEW, of course. They made money with them in fucking Ring of Honor, but that's like pennies compared to what AEW could have done production-wise.
Yeah.
You saw the fucking masterpieces that they did with FTR and Ring of Honor. Imagine if they took that and put it on Full Gear. If they put it at Double or Nothing. If they did it at All In at Wembley Stadium this year. So
it's tough to argue.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They were big rivals of the Funks. My connection there. Just a great time for wrestling back then. A lot of unsung heroes back then. So my number 4 is my personal favorite tag team of all time. They're the only tag team to make my top 10 list that we argued a few months ago. Highly decorated, legit, tough guys, amateur background. I'm talking about the Steiner brothers.
Okay.
They would be on my list normally, but I like them both as singles guys. I think they did better. That's just my personal. I agree. I'm not disagreeing you, but like there's only 5 available on the list, and to me, like I'm discounting. I'm giving like tag teams that their career that was their whole career. You know what I mean? Like that, they wouldn't have been shit if they weren't tag team.
Yeah,
that kind of a thing.
Well,
but it's like even Rick. Like Rick had a great singles career. You know?
Yeah, and he was around a lot earlier than Scott, but I don't like I don't like either one of them singly as much as I like them combined.
I get that, and I think probably more people than not would agree with you. It's just I've met Rick Steiner before. Like I've been in a couple different locker rooms with him, and he's kind of a turd. He is kind of a turd. So I don't know. Scott Steiner I met once, real nice, and I thought it would have been the opposite.
Yeah.
I really did. I thought it would have been the opposite, but Scott was real cool. But Rick, as a matter of fact, the guy by the name of Vordell Walker, Rick got shitty with him in the ring, and Vordell fucking punched him in the face.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
It was a thing, yeah. Vordell Walker, you guys should you'll run into him up there by where you are because he works Mississippi, Georgia, North Florida.
A long time ago, and he's like fucking 5'4", 5'5". Like he's a short, stocky motherfucker.
Who?
Vordell.
Vordell's probably 5'10". I wrestled him several times. He's not short.
Sure enough.
But he's a bad motherfucker. He looks like The Rock. If The Rock had a son with Scott Steiner.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Vordell's been around a long time, man. Vordell's amazing. He's an amazing worker. One of my favorite humans. I mean, just a really nice guy. You know, I've been on many shows with Vordell. And I tried to book him at Adrenaline, if you remember.
Yeah.
You know, I don't remember why we didn't, but we didn't.
Mm-hmm.
It was probably money. He's worth more than he asks. Sure.
Yeah, we didn't like to underpay people.
Yeah. No, we didn't want to do that. No, that's not why. I'm sure it had something to do with his schedule or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was gonna have him work the Hague.
Number 3, Thumper.
My number 3 is probably gonna be totally Greek to you guys. Jack and Jerry Briscoe. The real Briscoes. Jack and Jerry Briscoe were a prominent tag team in Florida back in the day. And I'm talking about when I was 8, 9 years old, 10 years old. Wes Briscoe, if you've ever heard of him, that's Jerry Briscoe's son. You guys would remember Gerald Briscoe that's Jerry Briscoe. Jack and Jerry were a very prominent both. I know Jack was a former NWA World Heavyweight Champion, but they held the NWA Florida and NWA World Tag Team Champions quite a few times. I would say they were more 70, early 80 era. So I was a little kid. The only reason why I was enamored by them is they were the first real babyface tag team that I ever recognized as fan favorites that I thought a lot of people liked to watch. And the reason I put them in the 3 spot is I've seen them in the ring. I saw them in the ring with like Ernie Ladd and fucking Greg Valentine and Larry Zbyszko and Nick Bockwinkel. You know, so that's I'm gonna say that's my old school pick.
Okay.
And I put him into 3. I put him into 3 out of respect because probably nowhere near as athletic as my bottom two, but out of respect and I can't go like you mentioned the Briscoe brothers. and you're not wrong. They're definitely. It's weird because you could have a top 10 list and you're still going to lose somebody off that should be there. You know what I mean? It's just But I'm saying as I'm sitting here right now on September 22nd or whatever day it is, I'm saying, these are the ones that come to mind. And I love Jack and Jerry Briscoe because they I remember I didn't know what a hot tag was back then, but it's like they were the first ones to really make it mean something.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was defined and you saw it all the time with them. And it's just my shout out to CWF.
Yeah, no, I dig it. Number 3 for you, Draven?
The Rock and Roll Express. And that's kind of like in how Thump just put old school pick to me, because I'm only 33. So they were tag teaming long before I was even thought of. I was just a fucking kid in my dad's crotch.
Yeah.
But when I think of the Midnight Express, I immediately think of the Rock and Roll Express and the classic fucking battles they had every fucking where.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it don't matter how many times they fucking worked or how many times it was the same shit. It was never fucking boring.
Yeah. They had some good storylines too over the years. Yeah. I agree totally. That's a good pick.
When they won the tag team titles from whoever the fuck, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
They were in their late 60s, early 70s, still winning mainline championships.
Yep.
Yeah.
That would be my number 3 pick.
Well, this doesn't happen often, but it does happen. My number 3 pick is also the Rock and Roll Express. And I'll tell you more because if you're out there listening and you're a fan of the Young Bucks, or you're a fan of the Usos, or you're a fan of the Lucha Brothers, the Rock and Roll Express is the blueprint for every single one of them.
Yep.
The synchronized super kicks, the synchronized tag team moves. If you could put the Rock and Roll Express back then together with today's Young Bucks, and they tear the fucking house down.
Yep. I agree, 100%.
Will not disagree with that.
All right.
Not once.
Thump, what you got for number 2?
My number 2, is going to be a former. I'll just come right out and say it. FTR. I mean, FTR has taken, because we have to include. I mean, FTR would be number 1, honestly, for me, if it weren't for my obvious choice, which you guys will get immediately. But they're my number 2 just because I can't think of anybody that's impressed me more. And the one thing about them is they made the Street Profits better. They made remember the American Alphas or whatever the hell they were called, Gable and Jordan, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They made them better in NXT. They spent way too much time in NXT. They should have gone right to the main roster.
Right.
They were that good. I think Vince just didn't like their bodies. I think that had a lot to do with it.
Right.
But these guys, they are an old school tag team that has permeated that old school style to where they still look better than everybody that's doing it the new way.
100%.
And there's people that'll be like, oh, they should be down the list more. And maybe it's blasphemous for me to say they were better than, say, the Rock and Roll Express, who aren't even on my list at all. But it's hard to argue FTR, man.
No, 100%.
It just is.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, quite honestly, the only reason they're not on my list is because of usually my list are more along the lines of either obviously my personal favorites, but also like what they meant to the industry, what they've contributed, what doors they opened, stuff like that. And that's the only reason why FTR is not in my top 5. But before they're done, I'm sure they'll be number 1.
Yeah, I mean it's and even though I have them at number 2, I could actually agree with what you just said. By the time they're done, they could easily be my number 1. When I say my number 1, you guys will be like, "Oh, that's why." You'll I would imagine that probably at least 2 of the 3 of us probably have the same number 1, if not all 3.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
Jerry, what's your number 2?
FDR.
Look at you, motherfucker.
For everything he just fucking said.
Yeah, what do you don't want to make them number 1 because they're still active and you don't want them to go home and Chris Benoit their wives or some bullshit like you know what I mean? Like you want them. You know what I mean? You're just waiting. Plus, one of them got busted for beating the shit out of his old lady in fucking Orlando not too long ago. So I mean, that's why I said that. It was the who was it? Cash did it.
No, whatever.
Cash Wheeler, whatever the fuck his name. I don't know. I get their names confused. Like they had different names in WWE, and I flip flop them and shit. I don't even remember, but they're still active and they still got a lot to do, and they're amazing. I agree, brother. Shit.
To me,
I'm curious.
To me, when it comes to FTR, it's that old saying: "What was old is new again." They brought something that hasn't been done in like 20, 25 years, brought it to the mainstream, and made it their own. It's something no other tag team can do with them.
Absolutely.
And they're another team that, whether they're heels or babies, they definitely make that fucking hot tag.
Yes.
Means something. And they cut the ring off. They do all that shit that they say on TV that matters in a tag team match. We all know that, that's it's a work or whatever. But like, if I was a little kid watching them, that would be the most real thing. When you see legit strategy and it makes sense for what they're doing and it's being commentated at the same time and they're doing it, it just gives them so much more credibility. And I mean, I'll be honest with you, there's some great indie tag teams that I worked with back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them I would even almost put on this list. It's just nobody listening or hearing us will even know who the fuck they were.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you 2 examples. The Heartbreak Express. They were me and Frankie when we were doing Double Deuce. The Heartbreak Express were fucking amazing, man. And they made us look good on nights we felt like shit. And Sean Davis was a 300-pound guy that could do fucking cartwheels. He was amazing. And then there's the new Heavenly Bodies, which was Chris Nelson, classy Chris Nelson, and Vito DiNucci.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Nelson is a guy that I used to fucking travel with and taught me so much about just everything, man. Everything to do with wrestling. He's the reason why I stopped doing all the flippy shit, put braids in my hair, and went out and started talking shit, and went from being match 1 to main event in a matter of a few months. Like Chris Nelson is another guy before his time. If he would have been around 15 years before, he would have been a legend. And in Florida he is. But they're it's when you watch tag teams and their psychology, fuck man. The Natural Blondes, fucking Brian Brock and they were amazing tag team.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing tag team. The fact that they didn't make it is absolutely fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they traveled the world, but they never got that rub that they deserve. So tag team wrestling isn't just limited to the mainstream guys. It's just for the purposes of this discussion. It's stupid to talk about people nobody's ever really heard of or knows.
Yeah.
Unless they follow indie wrestling.
Sure.
It's fucking heartbreaking. I remember one of my first indie shows out here in fucking McClenny was in like 2005, and they fucking co-main evented with Jason Hex and at the time Brian Kelly, who everybody knows as Byron Saxton.
Yeah, dude, they're both. Jason Hex is a very good friend of mine, and Brian Kelly, I talk to all the time. Byron Saxton, yeah. I got a picture of him that I can show you of him interviewing me in the middle of the ring. where it looks like I
And
should be standing on a brick.
I just remember fucking despise the fucking Heartbreak Express.
Yeah.
It was just little shit that they did.
Yep.
And going back and looking at it like where I am now, I was like, holy fuck! It was so fucking simple for them to fucking make me hate them.
Yeah, Sean and Phil Davis are both dear friends, and they were very instrumental in teaching me tag team wrestling for sure. I mean, I had so many cool people back. It's not like it is now where everybody's out for themselves, man. Back then, everybody wanted they wanted everybody to get. And if we would resort back to that, you wouldn't see what's really killed wrestling is fucking social media. Because problem is when you get mad and you talk shit, online, you buried yourself with those people that you're mad at because it never gets right again because you've embarrassed them and blah, blah, blah. You can never make it right. Whereas before you could just take a beating or give a beating and then fucking be like, I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry, brother. Blah, 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 blah. Next thing you know, you're at the bar having a beer.
Right.
It's just
fucking throw fisticuffs and be done. Then go have the beer.
Yeah, exactly. It's just not like that anymore. Everybody wants to talk and, they L-ray it to death.
Yep.
All right. So my number 2 is when you think tough guys in wrestling, these are the guys you think of. They were obviously not the first, but they were the thing that made face paint popular. Talking about the Legion of Doom, talking about the Road Warriors, these 2 big bad motherfuckers that would beat your ass if you didn't play nice.
That's your number 2?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yep. Okay. I mean, they have, and it pisses me off. This is the one thing I hate. One of the few things that I hate about AEW is WWE does it now too, but they're disrespecting of finishers. Like, to me, the Doomsday Device should never be kicked out of by anybody in any place for any reason ever.
Yeah, and there should be an ambulance called.
Yeah, yeah. Some of these moves you got to keep the mystique of, and that's one. But that's honestly, man. What you just said is the reason why I don't watch it. Yeah. Draven.
It's the reason I watch. We lost Draven. Oh, there he is.
He's coming back. Oh.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
You got Spectrum?
No, I got fucking Nefcom. It's a local thing here.
Oh, yeah. No, like the Road Warriors. Well, they're my number 1. I mean, I'm going next anyway, so I might as well say it. They're my number 1, and it's not even close. It's not even
number 1. Make your mind up. The Midnight Express.
Well, you already FTR'd them, so. No. I would say the Midnight Express drew a lot of money. The Road Warriors drew a lot of money. The Road Warriors drew a lot of money everywhere. Japan.
I think both of you motherfuckers just froze at the same time. What the fuck? Oh, Christ. Well. Are we still on? Oh, we're still on. Who knows who we are?
We lose Draven?
No.
Yeah. Like I put them both on the top of my list for 2 different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And one is like total believability. Holy shit. I'm not sure that there was 2 guys in the building that could beat their ass. type thing, and the Midnight Express for longevity and how much heat they got. And being a career heel, that means something to me.
Mm.
I probably shouldn't have put FTR number 2, but I did. Because FTR gets great heat and they're great baby faces. I was really surprised. Like when they turned babyface at AEW, because they never were at WWE, I don't think. If they were, it wasn't long. But oh wow, my son just texted me the Good Brothers. No, son. No.
What?
No, son. Yeah, no, son.
Okay.
He loves Luke Gallows because he met him. I get it.
I love Gallows and Anderson too, but they're not even on a top 10 list.
No. And the Street Profits, no. And the Usos, no. They're not. The Usos are not even in my top 10. I mean, actually, there's other Samoan tag teams, probably at least 2. One of them being the old Samoan SWAT team, which was Rikishi and Rikishi Fatu, and I forgot the other guy's name. Umaga's dad, whoever Umaga's dad was, that guy.
Oh.
They were bad motherfuckers too. That's another team that I thought could kill somebody.
Yeah.
Legit.
Yeah.
Or eat them, or at least eat them. Fucking monster.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
do you guys remember Rikishi before his ass grew?
Yes.
How big? He was a big fucking dude, man.
He was like a limber fucking dude.
Yeah, and then like how his ass got so big, I don't understand. I don't.
He's got that.
Like,
that.
It was like suddenly he showed up and his ass was like the size of a Toyota.
He's got that Samoan BBL going on.
And he's small again now. I've seen pictures of him recently, and he really looks small.
Yeah, maybe. All right, Jerry, what's your number 1?
The Dudley.
Oh God!
Just because they're the team that made me fall in love with tag team for no other fucking reason.
You know what, man? How old are you? 33. I get that.
Yeah.
Because you were a little kid when they broke in WWE, right?
I'm talking about like when I was up at 2:00 in the fucking morning watching fucking local television.
Oh, like so you were a little kid then.
Yeah, I was like 8 years old.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's the team that made me fall in love with tag team wrestling. But I was going to joke around and say Brad Maddox and fucking Xavier Woods in that fucking handicap match with Paige, but I didn't want to get canceled.
Yeah.
No, they really put the work in on against her.
We left off the fucking hedge, the Alpha and Snake. We all left them off the list.
Well, they're top 10 for sure.
Yeah. They were, and they drew a lot of money. They drew a lot of money. I can't believe that I forgot.
Yes, they did. Holy shit!
But I mean, we're talking about personal fucking.
Yeah.
What?
Well, my number 1 is also the Dudley Boys.
What?
And it's because their accolades and they're the most highly decorated tag team ever. They've been champion at every promotion on the planet. They've been main event stars at every major promotion on the planet. And you see that picture of what was it? What was the Japanese wrestler that used to hold all his belts out? That he had like Ultimo Dragon, yeah. I mean, they can do that with tag team belts. Like,
yeah. If you go back and watch fucking TNA in 08, they did the same fucking thing, holding all their fucking championships.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think
this main tag team championship, they're 23-time tag team champions.
Yeah.
That's not including like independent promotions that they've worked or like
but you got a lot of those were Impact, and they weren't there was nobody there but the Motor City Machine Guns for a long time. So
Yeah,
like
but
8 of those.
they had a
8 of those.
dominant run in New Japan.
Yeah.
Dominant run everywhere they've been. I mean, it's not their fault that Impact didn't have a great tag division. They were still that's where they were signed.
I just hate I hate Billy Ray. I don't.
I do too. I can't stand him.
Fucking asshole. He's an asshole.
He is.
Devon, nicest guy ever meet. And how after all these years he could turn his back on Devon to me is not surprising, because he is a fucking dick.
Yeah.
You know, he's always got some shit to say and always shitting on people, and you know, he's not Jim Cornette. He don't have the pedigree of Jim Cornette. Jim Cornette has booked. Jim Cornette has managed. Jim Cornette has fucking bought, sold, fucking, you know, sold out arenas all over the place. Billy Ray might have sold out the Impact Zone. The only problem was it was free to get in. Relax, Bubba. Relax, bully.
Yeah, no, I mean he's a fucking cocksucker.
I'm not a fan.
No, I mean personally he is not, but I had to.
I agree. I agree. It's hard to argue. You know, when it comes to accolades, you're 100% right, man.
No.
It's very hard to argue. Are they in my top 10? They're probably number 6 for me. You know, to be honest, I mean, but there's certain people in this business that I've met that I just did not come away from the experience really liking them too much, or I saw how they treated other people. Right. Usually, it's more than likely it was I saw how they treated other people, and that if you've been in a locker room as a worker with somebody and you see how they act and they're dicks, you lose total respect for everything they did. It happens. Yeah. Like, I don't give a shit what you did. I don't care what you did, bro. You're an asshole.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I can see that.
Because see, like, that's one cool thing about being all this work I've done with ALW, and I'll give them a shout out, ARW, back before they changed the name. But like all these people that I was iffy about, that I wondered if they were cool, all of them turned out to be cool as shit. Tessa Blanchard, Bobby Fish, like, who's the old guy? PCL, the guy
PCO?
that PCO, fucking awesome guy. You know, Madman Pondo. You know, all these guys, they're just cool as shit. You know, and you know, you realize that when you're there with them, that the things that they've done, and you know that they're going out in front of the same crowd that you are that night. You know, and when I was with the Crazy Bastards, like having Rich Swann, you know, come up to me, and he didn't have to, and say, "You guys are more over than anybody here." He said, if Alex Red quits booking you, he's an idiot. You know, you guys are over as fuck. And Sue Young, you're over as fuck. And all these guys, and here I am in a fucking robe of my underwear. You know what I mean? Like, I'm doing the dumbest, craziest, goofiest shit, you know, that I was just doing kind of for fun. It was like a gag, sort of. And it evolved. And like and some people say, hey, you should do more of this, less of this. You know, they gave me good advice, and it all made sense. And then you have somebody like Bully Ray, who, when I was at Impact doing a dark match, didn't even shake my hand. He said, "Are you on the roster?" And I said, "No." He goes, "Yeah, I'm good." That's what he said to me when I went to shake his hand. Yeah, I'm good. And I was good too. Fuck him. Did the same. I mean, he did, and you know, he did that to just everybody that was there doing dark matches. You know, no respect.
What a fucking cocksucker.
And you know, the thing is, any one of us could have turned out to take his fucking job, and it mattered. You know.
Yeah, of course.
And just a dickhole.
So, all right. Well, hell, that was fun as hell. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that was cool. I don't mind talking wrestling with you guys.
Well, that's good.
You know, I get tired. I get tired of talking about like the drama part. Fucking, you know, like most people, like when they talk about the releases and shit, they're like, "Oh my god, you know, Vince. It must be because of Vince and because of this and because of that." And you know, this guy doesn't like this guy. You motherfucker, you don't know shit. Like none of us do.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Now, Vince has showed a propensity to like bigger guys, and so when you see bigger guys getting released, you wonder why. You know, but none of us really knows why. Yeah. Half or all of them could have requested it.
Yeah,
because a lot of these people,
They could have been like, "Hey, who wants?
Maybe,
We're
maybe
gonna."
Dana Brooke wants to have a baby. You know?
They say we're about to cut a bunch of people. If you want to be
Yeah.
one of them, let us know, and
Yeah.
we'll see if you're one of the ones on target.
And the internet makes it out like they're about to be fucking euthanized. It's just
Mustafa was trying to get his release like 6 months ago, and he never really stopped. And Dolph has been trying to get a fucking break from wrestling for a while too, because even if you don't see him on TV, he's working all these fucking house shows for
Yep.
the fucking people.
Yep.
So he fucking worked a lot more than what people fucking think.
Yeah.
Oh, sure, yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Want some time off to chill out. If that just means go away, learn a new hold, and come back in a year, so fucking be it. I mean,
Now let's be honest though. Like that may be true for Ali and maybe Ziggler, but the rest of those people need fucking jobs. Like Ty Dolla is not like, oh, this is a great new beginning for me.
No, he's the kind of guy that'll get an Impact job. He's like Swerve. Swerve never made it past NXT. But I knew Swerve was good. I knew Swerve was good back when he was doing Lucha Underground.
Oh, he was so good.
You know what I mean? He was. So they just didn't really let him do his thing. You know what I mean? And
Killshot. Yeah, Killshot.
Yeah, he was Killshot. Yeah. And what's his name was the other guy? Oh my god.
AR Fox was one of his
AR
rivals.
Fox.
Yeah,
AR of his Fox,
rivals.
yeah.
He had a different name there, I think. So,
yeah, I forgot what it was. But it was military as shit, Shit, they had the best match that anybody ever had at Lucha Underground.
Yeah, they had a great match, yeah.
Yeah. I loved Lucha Underground.
Dude, I did too. Absolutely loved it.
I liked the Vampiro thing. I liked Matt Striker. I liked,
I loved that version of Ricochet. I could have seen Prince Puma wrestle forever.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, like Sammy Callahan was good there.
Yeah.
Because it was so violent, I haven't liked Penta as much since.
Yeah, I was really I loved Penta and Lucha Underground, and
because if he lost, he's gonna break your arm.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was awesome. That was hilarious, and the crowds were so live.
Yeah.
I think the reason that whole deal failed was one, El Rey TV failed. Yeah. Shocking. But they couldn't draw money because they weren't doing. Everything was so cinematic. They weren't doing live shows.
Yeah.
And how many people?
Well, it was
so many people on the place.
It was a TV show. It wasn't meant to like sell tickets. Like the entire because the audience and the crowd couldn't see like all the spooky shit they were doing backstage. I mean, it was a TV show that happened to feature wrestling, but they didn't.
Yeah.
They were depending on advertisers just like any other television show was, and it just wasn't happening.
No. And I think probably if they would have made it if they would have tried to do something, even if it was just in California locally, they could have gotten an idea of how much money they can make, because a lot of people love Lucha Underground, and
I loved it.
A lot of people love it, and the guy that was supposed to be the owner showed up somewhere on.
He's on MLW TV now.
Yeah, MLW. And see, MLW is an indie show.
Yeah. I
know Mr. St. Laurent very well from MLW. Actually, he was one of my first commentators when I was booking SECW back in the day. And genius. Fucking guy's got a genius mind for the business, booking wise. Like he can take shit and make shine all out of it in a heartbeat. He's brilliant like that.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, he used to be a part of the dojo. He was one of the original owners of the Team Vision dojo.
Oh shit!
When that shit happened with Chasen, he was gone. He didn't see you. He got out of there like a fart in church, bro. He was gone.
Nice.
And something cool happened last weekend. I didn't mention this on Talking Shit.
Okay,
I'm gonna mention it.
Let's talk about it real quick, and then we'll hop off. Yeah.
So I had Jason Dugan work Rip Ruiz at that show.
Mm-hmm.
and it looks like Rip's able to shake off all that dojo shit now finally.
Great.
So I'm happy that happened finally. And Jason was impressed with him, which is even better.
No, that's awesome. Rip's a great worker, man. I think he's gonna do some big things.
Well, I said that because he's one of your guys. That's why I mentioned it. You know,
Yeah.
I like Rip a lot. He's a good kid.
Yeah,
I like him and Della. Good, very good people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, guys, we made it. We fought through the technical difficulties, and I hope it wasn't too bad on our listeners' ears, but we made it.
Yeah.
But all right, guys. Well, for Thump Dupree and Draven Grimes, I'm Dark Cordz, and we will see you next time. Thank you for watching Heel Shit. Why do we call it that? Because bad guys do heel shit. Peace.